us people from Nassau and Suffolk. So, and Peter Tattoo had second shop along Long Island. He came about 10 years after me.
And he employed a couple of women actually, and they were, I think, the first women.
He
tattooing
was
on
the
Long
first
Island.
one that opened multiple shops. Peter Tattoo. Then he went to Colorado. He opened a string of shops, but I don't want to go into the story. But his demise was sad.
So, what do you think accounts for? I think what Marianne's asking is like, how did we go from this very rough subculture on the fringes to where it is today, where tattoo artists are charging $300 an hour, and you gotta, oh, my books are open now, and you know.
Yeah.
I tattooed in every shop I worked in, or my own shops, walk-ins. We didn't. If somebody came in, can I come back here? You had an appointment. But it depended on people walking in. Nobody was fancy like that. I have some people, friends, that call in when a guy says his book is full, and they'll call the shop, or have somebody call the shop and says, "Oh yeah, we can take you in and so and so." It's more chest beating, I think. But now today, they'll work on a guy all day. All day. My father was this guy Harry Jans back in the 50s and early 60s. He was a multi-millionaire. He owned a company that made farm equipment. They gave him a whole bodysuit. I remember I went once as a kid, and they had him in the back room on the table, naked. Both my father and uncle are tattooing him. There's blood streaming down his thing, but he got a full bodysuit. Maybe the whole thing in those days, maybe they got $500 out of him back in the 50s. In fact, when they outlawed it, they kind of ran a underground thing at first before they finally put it with this guy Tony Dianessa, who tattooed on the Bowery. His designs were on the back of his window shades, so they couldn't see what it was. This Harry Jans let my father and uncle use his loft in Greenwich Village to tattoo there. They would go into Dianessa's place, pick out a design, he'd put him in a cab, call up, this is what he's getting, and they get tattooed there. And he had some big names. He had a guy that used to get tattooed there. I can't think of his name. He was a dresser for the show of shows at Caesar and stuff.
So was it really then the NBA guys? I'm sorry, I'm hogging the floor. The basketball players who began the popularization?
No, you know who became? No, excuse me. I'm on medication, so I get.
I'll get you water.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Mike Tyson came on the scene, and he had Mike on his arm, and every kid, black and white, would line up. That's all you did some days. Their names on them. Then the basketball players start getting covered with it. I accredit that to Mike Tyson.
Okay.
If I could, I would add a little bit of, I think also like musicians. Janis Joplin was on the cover of Rolling Stone. Right. She had a tattoo. And as women began to enter the field, I think women began to feel more comfortable being tattooed because it could be a very sexualized, like, not always, but it could be an intimidating place. And some of the early women tattoo artists I interviewed talked about wanting to make a safer space for women. And I think then more women began to be tattooed. It began to be seen as a little more mainstream. I think as the technology and the hygiene, as there were more laws after the AIDS crisis began, I think it became a little more accessible. It got cleaner. I think it slowly began to gain acceptability, and then I think there was a big leap forward around Y2K because then tattoo reality shows started coming out. So then it's in people's living rooms, and I think, there were several tattoo reality shows.
I never watch it.
I never, you know what?
He watches them. I don't watch
I don't really watch them either, but I think that people began to see it more as like, oh, this is an art form, and there's technique that goes into this, and then I think a lot more trained artists. So I think it wasn't just one thing. I think there were a number of things. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, please.
I'm fascinated to know, and I could go home and Google this, but I don't want to wait to go home and do all this, but like, what was the turning point where it became you can do it legally?
Oh, 1995.
Really?
In the city.
Oh.
It was always legal.
It's always legal
Yeah.
out here. It's always it was only illegal in the Manhattan and the 4 other boroughs. Spider Webb. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Spider Webb. He was a little bit of eccentric. He was underground in the city. How do I explain him? He got in with all the porn stars of the day, and he Sprinkle and these people.
I was going to call him avant-garde, but that's good.
And he was a publicity hound. He would tattoo people out on a bench in the city, and him and a couple other people, I don't know if it was Tom DeVita or somebody else, took it to court. And Giuliani, as much as I hate to, as much as I hate to give him credit, is the one that actually worked to overturn it. And the Board of Health, when they overturned it, said it has never ever been a health hazard, and it isn't a health hazard now. So and a lot of the guys that tattooed underground stayed underground. A lot of them went up, but there was a few. Why am I going to go up there? I'm making money here. So it was when they outlawed it in '63. Actually, a final gauntlet came down about '64, '65. You had 30 some odd years. That tattoo, they never got rid of it. It was all underground. But the guys that were above ground, this guy Crazy Eddie, big name in tattooing, he went to Chicago, he went to Philadelphia, he went all over the United States. What's his name? From Coney Island Freddie. He went above ground. The older guys went back up or spread out. My father and uncle went to Long Island, which happened that they outlawed tattooing was a boon for my father and uncle. They had the whole area for almost 10 years. There was no tattooing, guys. They were right on Sunrise Highway in Amityville, by the all-weather driving. And there's a tattooer that tells a story how he came from the Bronx with 5 friends. About 11 o'clock at night, they were locking the gate. And they said, "Do we get tattooed?" They said, "Nah, we're going home. We're all getting tattooed. We're from the Bronx." So my father and uncle opened up, tattooed all of them. There was 5 guys. One guy, the only guy with the actual proof of age, was the guy that didn't get tattooed. But that's how it was. They went to the underground guys, and the other guys that had stores. Tony Dianessa went to Canada. They all went all over. Philadelphia Eddie made a brand out of himself. And then he went into the convention business. And in fact, the Philadelphia convention was his convention. But he's gone now. The guy that runs it comes around with his ashes. For the tattooers to kiss it or pat it on the head and stuff.
I learned
I
something
hide
new
when
every
he does
time.
that.
Every time I talk to you, I learn something. I think it's a question over here.
Yeah, I have.
Erling had a question.
You talked
Oh,
about
sorry.
blood and blah blah, and is it hurt? Does it hurt?
Hurts like hell to get a tattoo.
Yes.
And different parts
And the
of
older
the body.
you get, the more it hurts.
Yeah.
Different parts of the body hurt different amounts.
They
this
have
was really, that
these
was,
new machines now, the rotary machines. They work, on the way I still tattoo, you have a power box and you got a clip cord and it hooks up to the, now they have these, I'm not gonna say what they call them.
Come
Old
on.
timers.
What are they called?
Something that a woman would use to
Excellent.
there's a visual resemblance.
that the old timers call them that, but they do fantastic work with them. I mean, they really do artwork with them, and it doesn't hurt that much. I mean, the tattoo, for what I'm used to business, it's not the same business. One of the reasons is because when I go to a convention, I'm the old guy now. all my father and his friends that used to work them are gone. I'm the old. Other tattooers get little birds or little kid slugs, the boxer boy, from me as a souvenir. I make a lot of money off of the other tattooers. My nephew runs the booth for me, and I have a friend that's in his mid-70s tattoos with me also. So it's kind of melancholy for me.
COVID had to leave a mark. Is the industry come back from COVID?
It never went away from COVID.
Really?
People want to get tattooed. You couldn't tattoo, so the guy did underground. He rented a motel room. In fact, some guys at these conventions, when the hours are over, go to their hotel, the hotel where they stay and tattoo. My friend Ronnie, who tattoos with me, used to do that at the first Philadelphia Eddie
Really?
things.
There's a huge boom right now in tattoos. There's a huge demand, waiting list.
It never went away. People wanna. You know what it is? It used to be, from my father's day, my grandfather, even my day. Look at me, see me, you know. But now it's just. It's not that anymore. It's. I don't know what it is. It was, I guess, for the exhibitionists. Sawing people years ago. Decorative. But now they get their faces tattoos. Nobody bats an eye.
Well, so you must have had work that you said no to. You must have had things that some people asked you to do.
You know
and
what?
you're like, yeah.
78, I got married. I had a baby right away, like my father. My father was mad. What are you going to be like me and everything? But people would come in for the SWAT stickers. I would do them at that time. I got $25, $30 for them. Boom, boom, boom.
But as a Jewish tattooer, that's got to be hard.
It wasn't at that time. I had my mind, as usual, on other things.
And it seemed like Nazis were kind of going away.
I stopped doing it when I hit my 30s.
When you could afford to turn down work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't mean a guy wants to do that, let him do it. I don't care what, you know? Like, I dig in a little when I do it, you know? But I had one guy come in, he had 5 swastikas all over him. You gotta cover them, it gotta be done today. They weren't that big. I says, no. Why was in a hurry? Because he's going to jail, and he's just afraid of the blacks. I'm gonna see it there. The big tough Nazi. I ended up doing it. I got a couple of hundred out of it. It paid for a very good meal on the way home at the diner. That's what my father used to say. Some guy would come in when I was a kid, and I ran the front, and I want to go meet my buddies. You know, 18, 19, 20. Some guy would come in out of the blue to get tattooed. It's 11 o'clock already, 10 o'clock. My father say, see that? What I'm charging this guy? It's going to buy me, you, and my brother those veal parmesans.
Somebody's got to pick a flash here. Come on.
I know.
You
I was
got
going to pick one, but I have a different question. What I wanted to know was, did people always talk about why they picked a certain design, especially if
You
it
know
was
what?
something unusual? Did they give you the story behind
You
it?
probably know why sometimes what they pick. It's a funny business. You get, LGBT people. You get these. I used to tattoo this woman, and she was in one of these. What do they call them? Sadomasochist things. And I'm tattooing her. She's getting a rose with thorns over here. I guess I'm about 35 then. And she says, I got hung for the first time the other night. And I have no idea what she's talking about at all. But then I'm talking to her. And I figured it out. She brought me a lot of business from her group. She brought me this one lady came in with her boyfriend, and he's getting a devil on his ass. He was crying and wailing. I I was shaking because I was laughing. All I could do was the outline. And she's saying, boy, you don't act like this when I bring the whip to you. I could write just a book on all these crazy things.
I bet.
I told you you had colorful stories. I didn't know that one.
And I will take a piece of Flash.
Yeah, what do you want? What would you like here?
I'll take a mermaid.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice.
Absolutely.
I like that one. I mentioned to, I told them that this is all your family's Flash that I
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
This is with tattooing. Everybody stole from everybody's designs.
Right.
Like, ever hear of Sailor Jerry?
Yes.
Very famous tattoo artist from Hawaii. And he took everybody's flair, she colored it different, he changed a little. All of a sudden, everybody says, oh, I got this. This is Jerry, what did I just say? What his name is?
Sailor Jerry.
Sailor Jerry. Excuse me. This is a Sailor Jerry design. And I was just on a chat room about tattoos, and they said that. Wagner stole it from O'Reilly. This guy stole it from Wagner. My grandfather took it from this guy. Sailor Jerry took it from... And it becomes everybody... And everybody agreed with me.
Yeah.
One thing about Sailor Jerry, he had a radio show, and he was a real right-wing racist and anti-Semite. As much as he did for the tattoo industry, he did a lot. I just figured I'd turn that in.
Yeah, I had no idea. So like you were talking about how like now like tattooing has like gotten to like this whole different art form, and there's all
Oh, they're natural born artists. I can't do that work.
Right.
At
but
all.
You're
I mean,
like a very experienced tattooer, and you get to see how.
Well, you know what? I don't. Yes, my nephew. I don't do any big tattoos anymore. I tell them either show them this sparrow with a kid slug. That's all I want to do. But I do other things. But you look at what the work is going on, and you think to yourself, why are they getting tattooed by me? It just doesn't. They're just phenomenal, and you have guys from Europe and other countries that top the guys from here. I mean, they do. What was that convention?
You had a question?
What was the end of your question?
Well, I was gonna say, like, do you have any styles that, like, now that you look at and you know that's not gonna hold up? Because I know
You know what?
see so
A lot
much.
of this intricate work that they're doing that you think is great, if you notice, they're very dark. They use a lot of black. As it gets older, you're not gonna. In fact, you got to be on top of it to see what it is now when it's fresh. But as it gets older, it's just gonna get darker and darker.
It blurs, it
Yeah,
spreads.
It's skin. Your skin spreads. Your
Yeah.
skin gets old.
Do you have any styles that you think, like, that you're excited about, like something that you think is going to take off or last long?
Skin is skin. People
Fair
age.
enough.
And my father used to say he wouldn't give you 2 cents for any tattoo. It just, you don't know how this new stuff is going to age.
Fair.
I mean, okay, this is 16 years old, but the machine is losing its detail already. My father's losing a few detail. This is 40 years old, the boxing ring.
Wow.
And if you don't look close, you don't know what it is. Now, I got this when I was 25, a guy that was working for me, my friend Tony Lucas. He put me at ringside, the bald-headed guy, when I was 25. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there.
And can you explain the other one that's
This one?
Yeah.
That looks fresher.
I just got it.
I was gonna say that looks very
Last
fresh.
summer, I go up, my brother lives in Provincetown, so I take my mother up twice a year to visit her for a week. And after all these years, we're bonding all of a sudden. We get tattoos together and stuff. He's a doctor, by the way. But anyway, I have a 10-year-old grandson and a 6-year-old granddaughter. Last year, when my grandson was 8, he comes over and he has one of those iPod machines. And but it had a program that you draw on paper. They teach you to draw on paper. And he's drawing a bunch of reapers. I know he always asks me to get him for Hanukkah scary things. Papa Marvin, get me anything scary this year? He's into he's always the Reaper on Halloween. So he's drawing a Reaper, and I says, you know what that is? He says, yeah, that's the guy that comes and collects you. So I said, draw me a Reaper picture. So he draws me a Reaper with a little guy next to him, and in the bubbles it says, your time is up, and the little guy saying, excuse me. So when I was up in Provincetown, I know the people there, and I asked the tattoo artist, I asked her, make this into a tattoo for me. Not like a 9-year-old did it, and that's what she did.
Oh,
That's out of his mind, exactly out of his mind. But not like a 9-year-old drew it, but the words, the bubbles, everything.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing.
He's my dark side. His dark side. I text him a picture of it. He texts me back, oh, thank you, Papa, for making my drawing into this. He says, here's your next drawing. Some monster they have for the kids now, Huggy Buggy or Huggy Wuggy. He sends me a drawing, a giant monster holding a head on a rope. Says, this is your next tattoo. I says, you know what? We gotta wait till your sister could draw me something.
Take turns. Chrissy, you have
another question?
Pick
Yeah, I'm
a
totally gonna.
flash.
Which one?
Flash.
What do you want?
I can't see all of them.
We've got a, looks like a phoenix. We've got a.
Can I get the dad one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My brother, he's 65 now, so 2 years ago he was 63. Always telling me how he's the better looking son of the family. He got a phoenix out of nowhere. He had a dragon my father gave him years ago, and he wanted another tattoo. He got a phoenix. It's something like that almost. She drew it custom for him. I said, where do you get a phoenix from? Well, I'm in a better frame of mind, and I'm coming out of this. I said, bad excuse. You're 63 years old. But now he has a moon added to it, shooting stars added to it. And all of a sudden, in his old age, he didn't get tattooed. He was 18 when he got tattooed, and in his 60s, he's getting tattooed. So I go with him, and he pays for my tattoos.
Jump in. Go ahead.
My question is, what percentage? This is like starting from my own experience too. Is I have like 4 tattoos, but technically 5 because one got redone when I broke up with the boyfriend who had a matching one. But that was a bad idea. But do a lot of people? What percentage of people get them redone or like fixed?
You mean covered up?
Covered up.
The name covered up?
Yeah, like do a lot of people?
I used to do that. I'll tell you a couple of stories. They're sad stories. They're always covering up names. Some people, tattooists, talk them into big tattoos. Say you got a name like this. You put a couple of little flowers with leaves, a little green, red, and that's it. A lot of people are satisfied. But a lot.
Oh, wow.
I had a shop in Baldwin, next to a bar, the Tudor Pub. Every rotten person that lived in Baldwin or visited New York stopped at that bar for a drink. In fact, that was the second to last one I did a couple of bad things. My father and uncle made me get rid of the store, and I had to be kept on a short leash. But anyway, getting back to your question. The guy comes in, he's getting a big tattoo for his girlfriend. They're getting married in like a week or two. And I had a friend of mine hanging out in the front, and then I don't hear nobody no more. I finished that tattoo, a couple of hours, it was a big tattoo. All of a sudden I hear them come back in, and he's looking at me, the guy. She went with my friend. I said, I didn't know what to tell the guy. I got my money, I always got my money up front, but I didn't know what to tell him.
Every parent who wants to scare their child should know that story.
I can tell other ones, but that's enough.
Yeah, we get the idea.
But covering names, or true love, see that?
I do
That
think
should be a lesson to you. I got my wife, ex-wife's name covered up over here.
cover-ups can be really beautiful though, and an art form in themselves. Like before we started, I was saying I got a spider tattooed here on my 18th birthday, which I had really thought about, and I couldn't imagine a day I wouldn't want that. You know, I'm like, I want to be 90 and love this spider on my arm. And then, you know, mid-20s, I'm like, I'm tired of old men slapping me and being like, you're a spider on your arm. Like, I was just done. It was like, I'm tired of being slapped, and I don't feel spidery anymore. And like, that was when I got the olive branch done over it. And and then years later, I had the water added, and like, I kind of enjoy my growing tattoo,
Well,
you know?
Also, the inks are a lot better. Years ago, when you tattoo something, you had to put a lot of black shade in to cover up what was there. But the inks today actually cover up the black. So it's easier for a cover-up. They still talk you into these big things, but it's easier to do a cover-up now.
What about older skin? Like, there's special aftercare? What?
Yeah, everybody's selling aftercare now. That's
Yeah.
the big. You go to the conventions, every tattoo artist is selling his own type of machine, their own aftercare, and it's all the same. It's all the same. It's all this greasy stuff. But there is one thing I use. It's called what's that butter stuff?
Shea butter?
Hustle butter, they call it. It smells good. You can even use it during the tattoo to soothe the skin and stuff. And every time I use this hustle butter, the tattoos come out so bright and everything. But you got to stay out of this. People get a tattoo no matter what. You're smiling. You got a tattoo sunburn. No, you got to stay out of the sun. You can't burn the skin for at least a month. You can't get a sunburn. And they'll come back. Look, my tattoo's infected. You were in. And they'll tell you they were at the beach. You got to listen to the directions. You cover it up, only for not even 24 hours. I still use gauze. They wrap the saran wrap around, which is you feel it. It's like 100 degrees. It's laid in a puddle of blood. I don't agree with that. I can put a regular sterile bandage with tape on it. Tell them to take it off in a couple of hours. Wash it up real good. Don't put nothing on it for a day or two, and then put Lubriderm on it, the hustle butter. I'll buy a couple of little things and try and get an extra 5, 10 pounds or something.
And that's true any age, right? A tattoo with 20-year-olds and 80-year-olds, like there's
The same, but
yeah.
the tattoo an 80-year-old, the skin is different. And it's softer. You got to be careful you don't split the skin. It's crinkled skin, I call
How about numbing cream?
What's that?
How about numbing?
Nah,
No.
that's part of the tattoo, the pain.
As someone who has a ribs done, like, yes, but
Most ones that hurt me was this one on the ear and this one on the ear. The most intense pain I ever had. And I can't take pain anyway. This hurt like hell, these two.
How
The
long
other
did they
ones weren't
take?
that bad.
How long did those two take?
This one only took about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Constant pain.
This one didn't take, Well, you get a break. Because you got to put your arm up like that.
It depends on like the detail of the tattoo, and like, so this one was a 2.5-hour session, and then after it healed, I went back and she touched it up for another hour and a half or so. So it's like, you know, this water took about 3 hours probably. And you go into a kind of a trance though. After long enough time, you sort of, I don't know, endorphins kick in, you kind of zone out, time loses meaning, I don't know.
But when,
It is addictive.
Yeah.
in later years, when I would tattoo, I had Little Richard on the music. So if they liked it, it was more torture. If they liked it, it was smooth sailing. But the aftercare has improved. We used to, my Father's Day, when I first started, you put Vaseline on it, and it goes bad. Vaseline really doesn't do nothing for it. It coagulates the blood and stuff. Some people don't do nothing. They get a thick scab, you think it's infected, and the scab comes off, they got a beautiful tattoo. But
Really? Did you have?
Yeah, how long before touch job? Like, how much healing do you need to have
it
before
depends
you
on the tattoo. Sometimes it needs no touch-up.
No, but if it does.
If it does,
How-
you try to blame the guy and get some money
What?
before he